May always smells of flowers and the promise of something sweet, but that night it smelled of burnt cable and fear. It began with a spark in the dead bulb in the corridor. Then a brief flash in the window pane. Then a tiny light beneath the bed, as though someone had let it go with invisible fingers. Naeon was the first to see it. Then Jeongyeon. Then Momo, who swore she heard a very low laugh on the other side of the darkness. None of them wanted to say it aloud, because all 9 had learnt to smile under the lights, to keep singing even when their hearts trembled. But in the flat, when the cameras switched off and the echo of rehearsal stayed trapped in the walls, the little lights came back. They were always tiny. They always appeared when they were alone. Sana was the one who noticed the first forgetting. She set her cup on the table, took 3 steps, and forgot she had drunk tea. Mina forgot a choreography she had practiced to exhaustion. Da-Hyun stopped remembering a simple word, then an entire sentence, and stood staring at her own hands as though they belonged to someone else. Then the cruel game of May began. Each spark arrived a moment before a void. At first it was small things. The keys. Breakfast. An unsent message. Then came the building corridors, the streets they had walked hundreds of times, the names of the shops by the corner. Tsuyu stopped in front of a familiar road and felt, with horrible clarity, that her mind had just closed a door. Chae-young had the idea to record themselves. If memory was breaking, perhaps the camera could hold it. So that night they lined the phone up in front of the sofa and left the living room light on, though none of them would admit why they needed that brightness so much. At 3:14 in the morning, the recording changed. First a hum. Then a spark by the door. Then another. And another. The lights began appearing around the room as though someone was scattering embers through the air. The glow grew, silent and patient, until it drew shadows where there should have been none. On the screen, Jeongyeon slept with her face turned towards the back of the sofa. Naeon, a few steps away, opened her eyes in her sleep and smiled. It was not a peaceful smile. It was a smile of recognition. Mina stepped back when she saw the video in the morning. The air caught in her throat. Because in the recording she herself was walking slowly, almost obediently, towards the door, while behind her shoulder passed a silhouette none of the others remembered ever seeing. And the worst came at the end. The phone caught the corridor mirror. There you could see a room full of bright points, the singers sleeping as though nothing were happening, and behind them, seated on the edge of the darkness, a row of motionless fans, hands clasped, watching in silence.